In this video we're going to learn how to set up a game of Renegade. The first thing we do is choose an SMC, a supermassive computer, to play against. Each SMC has a various difficulty level. Alpha Moby is the easiest, followed by Spider, Viking, and then Mother, a level 5 opponent. Set aside the RS-20 simulator. You'll use this for the walkthrough and just to hone your own skills. It's not a real opponent, but is a great way to learn the game. Let's choose Alpha Moby as our opponent in this demonstration. This is likely to be the first SMC you'll take on for real. The others go back in the box. Each SMC will bring a series of countermeasures in copper, silver and gold. We're going to sort the countermeasure cards by their colour, copper, silver, gold. This is the front side. On the rear you'll see these arrows, so they're easy to identify, and with this success, failure event, keep those secret, but shuffle each deck separately and draw a number of cards as determined by the SMC you're taking on. So for example, Alpha Moby asks for 1 copper, 1 silver and 1 gold countermeasure card. Compare this to Mother. She asks for 1 copper, 2 silver and 1 gold. Set aside the RS-20 Simulation Stage 1, Stage 2 and Stage 3 cards. We'll only use those when you're playing against the RS-20 simulator. So we randomly shuffle and draw 1 copper, 1 silver and 1 gold. Place them face down with copper on top, silver and then gold. The rest go back in the box. You can freely look at these to see what's coming up, and as you get to know the game you can kind of preempt how you might want to play in light of the countermeasures you'll face. If you choose, you can keep those secret. Next you're going to need some space to create the network. Choose an alpha player. I'm going to set up a 2-player game. You can use whatever method you wish. Perhaps the last person who used a computer would be your alpha player. The alpha player is the first player. Shuffle the 5 server tiles. Each player, starting with the alpha player, reveals a server tile and places it face down in the middle of the table. The next player, in a clockwise direction, will reveal the next tile, and this becomes the important decision: where to place the server tile. There's 2 rules here. The orientation of this tile must be the same as the orientation of the existing tile. So this is a correct orientation. All the numbers are pointing in the same direction. This would be wrong. The orientations have changed. So rotate until you get the same orientation. And the next rule is 2 partitions, each one of these is one of 6 partitions on a server tile, must touch at least 2 partitions on another server already on the network. So this would be an illegal placement. There's only 1 partition touching. This would be a legal placement, 2 partitions touching. Continue in a clockwise order until all server tiles are placed. Remember, keeping the orientation the same and at least 2 partitions touching. Once all 5 tiles are placed, you've completed the network setup. How you decide to set up the network depends on the strategies you want to employ and obviously the order they come out in. Some SMCs prefer open networks, lots of space around the servers. Others prefer more compact or closed networks. You'll find geometry in the way the server tiles fall. This would be a very open network. This is a more closed network. Next, each player chooses a profile. I'm playing 2 players, so I'm going to choose 2 profiles. You can do this either randomly or let players choose their own, starting with the alpha player. I've chosen the yellow profile of Heti Magnetic and the red profile of Oshinoro. Each player takes a standee of their colour and a deck of 15 basic command cards that matches the colour of their profile, given by this avatar on the bottom right. Okay, so the red player, Oshinoro here, takes the 15 cards with the red avatar on the bottom right, and you can spot these cards. They've got basic written here. Compare these to the advanced command cards. Advanced command cards have no profile in the bottom right corner, and they all have these special effects, some text effects written on them as well. So 15 cards. Each player's deck is slightly different. We'll give those a shuffle. The yellow deck for Heti. Set the blue and green decks aside. We're not using them in this 2-player game. And now we jack into the network. We place our standee on the network at our access point, shown here. So Oshinoro's access point is Salvation, the red server, partition number 6. Partition 6 on Salvation here. And Heti's avatar will begin on Virtue 6, the yellow server, partition 6. Other standees go back to the box. And now we need to take some contaminants. There's 2 types of contaminants. There's the blue-green uplink and data node contaminants, and the red-yellow virus replicant contaminants. Each player, each renegade, takes a contaminant the same color as their profile. So Oshinoro will start with the red virus, place it on his access point, and Heti will take the yellow replicant, place it on her access point. With the renegades jacked in, the SMC will now set up its defenses. Each SMC has some instantiation instructions. Alpha Moby says, place 1 spark on each partition on Faith, the purple server. Also place 1 spark on each player's access point, number 6 partition. These are the SMC's defenses, its countermeasures. We have 5 guardians and 25 sparks. The sparks are double-sided. They have a flame on one side and the regular spark side, the darker side. You may find the artwork will be slightly different in the final game. So we place 1 spark, not the flame side, but the spark side up. 1 spark on every partition on Faith. And remember it said, also place 1 spark on each player's access point. Access points, if you remember, are partition 6. So 1 here, flame side down, 1 here. We're almost done. Every access point unoccupied gets a data node. This is the information needed by renegades to access those access points. And it's just a way of scaling the game, really. If you're playing with 2 players, there'll be 3 data nodes. If you're playing 3 players, there'll be 2. 4 players, there'll be 1. If you're playing solitaire, there'll be 4 data nodes on the network. And once you've placed these, you can move them to any place you wish. If you want to put them all on the same partition, you can do. If you want to spread them around, you can do. I'll let you figure out what the good strategies are for placing these initial data nodes on the network. The key to remember is 1 for every empty access point, and then reposition them however you wish. With the network set up and ready to go, just make all the other tokens available at the side of the game. Dice. And finally we open the Hack Shack. This is our deck of 36 advanced command cards. They have advanced written here. They'll be providing commands and also some special effects. This is the way we upgrade our starting decks. So we open the bar by drawing 4 cards face up, and this is the initial offer for the game. Finally, after shuffling their decks, each player draws himself a hand of 5 cards. This will be their starting hand for the game. If a player doesn't like their starting hand, they can take a mulligan. All they need to do is shuffle their hand back in and draw again. As a penalty though, they must place 1 more spark on their access point. You can perform this mulligan as many times as you wish, but as you'll come to learn, placing sparks on the same partition is a dangerous occupation. You don't want to lose the game before you've even begun, so don't be doing this too many times. We're now ready to play Renegade.